For some odd reason, some black folks think that the white man's ice is colder.
Mm-hmm.
We can have the same product, the same benefit, the same features, but for some odd reason, they'll go that way. And not all of them. I'm not talking about all of them, but in this world of finance that we're in, we know that the majority of people in this don't look like us.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look like us. One reason why I guess I was happy whenever I got into this business was sort of that reason, because I would go to meetings. I started out, with Nationwide Insurance,
Okay.
and I would look around the room, and I started doing that, back when I was in a management position with FedEx for several years, before I came into insurance. But I'd always look around the room and I'd take a census of who was in there, the number of men, the number of women, the number of blacks, the number of whites, and whatever the other nationalities were, just to get a sense of who was doing what I was doing, and, who was leading people in the space that I was in. Insurance, it hadn't been any different. We would look around the room, and my first, I guess, month or so at Nationwide, I came to the conclusion that this is the space that I needed to be in. Because everybody on here knows that if there's no money involved, white folks don't stay around. And this is not a racist statement. This is reality, folks.
Mm-hmm.
This is a real statement that they don't stay where there's no money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you go into those rooms and there's 30 people and there's only 5 that look like me. I said, oh man, hey, this must be the place to be.
Mm-hmm.
This must be the place to be. And I made that decision back in 2005. And hey, here we
I
are.
said, who's talking to us?
I still love it.
I had the same thing happen, but my thought was, who's talking to us?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
If it's only 2, look, I was in Women of the World. It was 39 people in my training class, 2 blacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only person from that. No, I'm the only person. No, I think it's 3 of us that's still in the insurance industry. 1 guy died, but I'm the only black person. And my whole thought was, well, we went to a meeting in Milwaukee, 15,000 agents from across the country. There were 700 women and 300 African Americans. Same question. Who is talking to us?
Mm-hmm.
Bingo. Man.
That's the reason why I went this way, because I felt like, who's talking to us? I mean, like, that's just kept ringing in my mind. There's not enough representation in this one company for the whole nation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, excuse me, Brother Marshall. Thank you for saying that. I'm gonna come right back to you also, because that's why we're doing this show tonight. How many shows do you know just like this, especially produced by us, talking to us? And I love what you say. Who's talking to us? And I can certainly appreciate that. And Brother Campbell, I certainly appreciate you, because look, this is going to be a fascinating conversation, folks. We're just getting started because I'm excited. Okay. And before I got into the insurance industry, insurance didn't excite me because I had the same old myth, or I was believing the same old myth. Like I started with saying that, people think that you got to die to use it. But I'm going to tell you, the people that aren't talking to us, Brother Marshall, are the people that are using it and capitalizing on this. And that's why we're bringing this program to you right now. Let me share this with you. Before this program, I have another program called Money Talk. And that comes on 45 minutes before this show. So I'm going to have you and Brother Marshall and you, Brother Campbell, come back on there, because I co-host that show, and we talk about exactly what you talk about. So who's talking to us? They're not talking to us, because you know what? That is their own. That's one of their best secrets.
Yeah.
Okay. They have been building wealth for generations. There are 2 things that the rich and powerful have that we don't. There's lots of money and land.
Yep.
Okay. And land is how your super mega rich, okay, they own most of the land.
Right.
Now, how did they get that land?
Mhm.
Okay, it was
That's a totally
passed down
different
to them.
podcast.
Right.
Well, sometimes it was stolen. That's
Well, the whole thing was stolen. We already know that.
okay.
Right.
I mean, you talk
Mhm.
about
Yeah.
the biggest crime ever committed in history was when they came over and stole this one from the Native Americans.
Right.
Oh, and we were here too.
Mhm.
Okay, history won't tell you, or this modern history won't tell you, but with
Yeah.
some of us over here too.
Mhm.
Okay, before that. So
Just
that's a
go
whole
through the
nother
game.
story for another day.
Right.
Another day. But anyway, folks, let's talk about this.
Okay.
The different types of insurance.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. And going back to what Brother Marshall said, I remember that I started off with Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. All
Oh.
right. And I acquired my Series 7, 63, 65, 31 life and annuity licenses.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I trained in the World Trade Center, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
Right.
3 years before it went down.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
3 years before. No, I'm sorry. I trained in the World Trade Center in let's see, what year was that? 1999. 3 years before. What I meant, 3 years before. 3 years before, there was an attempt on the building then. Okay, but it was unsuccessful. People don't even know about that.
Mhm.
But it happened in 1998. In 1990, no, 9/11. 9/11. What was that?
That was 2000, wasn't it?
Okay.
Well,
I
we
mean,
talking about
I had
9/11.
already,
2000.
yeah, I had already graduated and gone back to California. But anyway, so the thing that I'm getting at, I look at my class, and my graduating class at Morgan Stanley was 250 people. There were less than 10 Black in that class.
Hmm.
There were about maybe an equal amount of Hispanic. The majority, the other 230 were white. Folks, they've had this secret for a long time. So
Right.
what I want to do, brothers, let's talk about how people like the Rockefellers and the people like Ray Kroc and people like Disney, how did they get this money? They bought insurance. Now, there are different types of insurance, and I want to break this down as we can. Okay, you've got term
Mhm.
insurance.
Mhm.
Okay, you got whole life. You got IULs, Index Universal Life. You got Universal Life and Variable Universal Life. And going back to what Brother Campbell said, we have to do a fact finder to find out what suits your needs.
Right.
What is it like? I like what you said. Where does it hurt?
Yeah.
What do you need? What would you like to see happen here
Right.
with our visit?
Mhm.
Okay.
So
What
it's
is one thing that's really tugging at you as
Mhm.
far as your protection and your stability is concerned?
Right.
All
So
right.
is it
You guys,
risk-
you guys
like-
can jump in anytime you want.
Like, is it like risk tolerance that you're talking about when you do your interviews? Like risk tolerance is what you like
Yeah.
to focus on?
Oh, well, you have to do that insurance also because
Okay.
remember I said, let's say I'm sitting down with you, Sister Tanisha,
Mhm.
and you said, I'm really interested in insurance. And so before I pull out an application,
Mhm.
I need to find out what shoe fits for you
Mhm.
because it's not a one size fit all for anyone,
Exactly.
as far as the product is concerned or the amount is concerned. So I
Mhm.
need to know what your
Mhm.
goals are.
Right.
Can I jump in there right quick?
Please jump in.
Be very wary of a person who comes to you with an amount that they want you to get, and y'all haven't had the proper discussion.
Mm.
Oh, you need whole life. Oh, you
Mm.
need, you know what I'm saying? Like, please.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like,
or a
it's
certain
a
dollar amount.
Right.
Yeah, they want that residual income. That's what that is.
Right. So
Yeah. Uh-huh.
be very careful who you talk to. This is a relationship. I
Okay.
need to know what's going on with you so I can educate you. So I'm not selling you anything. I'm
Right.
giving you the knowledge so
Mhm.
you can make the best decision for you and your family based on my buffet.
There's a rule. There's a rule in the book. The first rule of investing is know your customer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You got to know your audience.
Oh, you have to know your audience.
Yeah,
You have to
exactly.
know your audience.
You know,
And because
and-
I'm gonna tell you, and you have to be very, very careful because, man, I had to take these. I've got 5 more hours to do with these CEs, and they're kicking my butt.
okay.
The book that I have to read, this particular one that I'm dealing with right now. Financial planning and life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's a bear. That's
Right.
a bear. The book, the study material is 178 pages.
Mm-hmm. Right.
178 pages. Now, keep in mind,
Mhm.
I had to read some other materials as well. So I'm tired of reading. I am really tired of reading, but it's something that has to be done. Otherwise, I can't practice.
Exactly.
But you do have to know your customers. And like Brother Marshall said, you be wary of who you talk to.
Mhm.
Okay. I had a situation one time where this gentleman came to my office. I was happened to be working on a Saturday, and he came to my office. He wanted to buy a life insurance policy.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. But he has a little daughter with him. He didn't want to buy the policy for himself. He wanted to put a $500,000 policy on his daughter.
Whoa.
Oh no, that meeting was over as soon as it started.
Yeah.
Because I asked him a few questions.
Whoa.
I said, Mr. So-and-so, well, how much insurance do you have on yourself? Oh, I don't have any.
Right.
Whoa.
Ooh,
I'm out. I'm
Oh
out.
wow.
no.
And he said, so I asked the second question. I said, well, why do you want to get insurance on your daughter and you have none? He said, well, I'm afraid that my baby mama is going to kill her.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
I couldn't throw
You
him
go
out of my.
talk to an insurance agent and not a cop.
I couldn't. They say that again.
So
Yeah.
you go talk to an insurance agent and not the police.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like the first call you make is to an insurance agent. Nah.
And check this out. So I couldn't throw him out of the office fast enough.
Right.
I said, no, brother. Me or any reputable agent. Well, as a matter of fact, the insurance company won't let you get along with around that anyway.
Right.
Because if you have insurance, if you put insurance on a child, you must have insurance on yourself.
That's
Right.
correct.
That's
Exactly.
the very reason we're talking about.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, that is, some nefarious people that's doing some nefarious things. But anyway, let's get back to the basics here.
Right.
All right.
Well, like we're going back to the basics, and now piggyback on something that Steve was talking about. See the thing that we know as insurance professionals. We're not shade tree. You can't come pick us up at Sam's Club, anything of that nature, or Costco. But we all know that life insurance is one of those products that's bought. It's not sold.
Mm,
Huh?
that's
Life
exactly
insurance
right.
is bought. It's not sold.
That's
Okay,
right.
Campbell, what do you mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is I just can't walk up on a person and look at he or she and say, you know what, I think you need $300,000 worth of insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do I know that? I mean, just because they live in a nice house, maybe drive a nice car, 2 kids, college educated, everything appears to be going along well, but how do I know that sure that with those 2 nice cars, those children, that big home, that particular group, they could be cash poor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm coming in there with my preconceived notion
That's right.
because of the house that they live in and the way that they greeted me and those hardwood floors and things, that they had and all this stuff they got hanging on the walls and this and that nature. I'm like, some agents go in there, oh man, bingo,
Mm-hmm.
I've hit the jackpot. Whereas what we all know is they're judging us too when we drive up, depending on what we drive up in, depending on how we come dressed. Because here's the thing, I'm not going to go to a person's home and have them all of a sudden think because of what I drove up in, because what I drive is what I drive, don't be trying to, stay out of my pocket, stay out of my pocket.
Yeah.
And the way that I'm dressed, that all of a sudden, see, because we can mess the sale up because that person might think, hey, that guy's coming in here trying to take everything from us.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, you have to know your client, like you have to establish some kind of common ground with them.
Mm-hmm.
Whatnot, right? My thing is, I'm looking to see what kind of pictures they have on the wall. Oh, so your son or your grandson or your granddaughter plays baseball. Oh yeah. Hey, well, so you go to the Y. I think I saw you at the Y one day. We're trying to make some common ground and whatnot with them because see, this insurance piece is kind of scary.
Mhm.
if you don't know anything about it, because you can't touch it.
Mhm.
It's not like buying a car. It's not like even buying a sandwich. You can't touch it.
Right.
And it's not for you. It's for the people that we're leaving behind. So just like you said, Brown, whenever we go in and we start asking these questions, we do that fact finding. And so everybody knows, why they got married, I guess, why they work a particular job, why they want to send their kids to particular schools and, things of that nature. So what we have to do is we got to come in there and sort of ease their fears about this thing called insurance. Well, hey, there's some insurance that can help you with that.
Mhm.
There's some products out here, sir or ma'am, that can help you with that. Now, the name of my group is the Dime Insurance Group. Somebody asked me, what does that stand for? Well, the D stands for death. I can, if you just want a small or a large death policy, I can help you with that. We can also do, like you said, Brown, we can help you with that income. Well, that's that IUL.
Mhm.
That's that IUL product that I didn't even know existed until 2014. And I'd been an agent, licensed agent since 2005, but I was a property and casualty agent with Nationwide, focusing on home, cars, and business. And so whenever I went to Transamerica and just focused on those financial products, you just stop and think, they had been selling that for years, and I did not know anything about it. And for some odd reason, I thought I had a little bit of sense. You got to remember, I graduated from the North Carolina A&T State University. So, we got a little bit of smarts over there at 1611 East Market Street. I'm just saying, I'm just
I
saying.
hear a shout out. Sound like you're doing a shout out.
But you know what, brother? What you're saying is vitally important, though.
Right.
What you're saying is vitally important.
Right.
Because
I did not realize about that IUL and those type products until 2014. And I had been licensed since 2005.
Mhm.
And these folks are telling me that, that's one of the first things we do when that child is 15 days old.
Mhm.
We go ahead and we put that policy out. And a lot of times, what I have seen and what I have heard, I have some clients that are from over in the islands. They're from Bermuda.
Mhm.
Those folks, that's how they gift the wedding party, and that's how they gift, the grandkids and things like that, right? They don't, they buy insurance. Like a lot of kids walking around there have 100,000, 300,000, $500,000 policies, before they're 5 and 6 years old.
That's exactly right. Hey, brother, I want you to do something real quick. Tell the audience, you said IUL. Now, the audience, you didn't know what it was before 2014. The audience don't have a clue what you're talking about. What is an IUL?
An IUL is an indexed universal life policy.
Mhm.
This is a policy that where you can put money in, and you'll get to a point in that policy to where we call it just turning that faucet on, because you can start taking monies out of that policy at a particular age, say it's 52 or either 62, and you can take that money out tax-free. You can start paying yourself, okay, along with that pension that you're getting from that job that you've been on, for 20 years or so. You can also start pulling money out of that indexed universal life policy tax-free. But the other sweet thing about it is it also has a life insurance component to it that you never touch. And see, that's what Mama and Junior and Boo Boo and all of them can use. Now, sure, now they're taking advantage of, they're enjoying those spoils that you're pulling out on a monthly basis. But whenever you leave here and whatnot, right, there's still something left in that policy for them. Now, granted, guys, I am not an expert on it or anything of that nature. And I'm thinking that Brown knows a whole lot more about it, than I do. But just for the sake of explaining it, an IUL stands for Indexed Universal Life. Would I sell it to someone that's 65 years old? No, I wouldn't. But I definitely jump on a handful of those 25, 35s, and 40s every day. Every day. Every day.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I see Brother Marshall going jumping in there. Okay. Before I let you jump in, brother, let me break something down about that IUL. You're exactly right about the Index Universal Life. I'm going to break it down a little bit more because I really love educating my audience. He's exact. So you want to know, well, what is an index? Let's start right there. Have you guys heard of the S&P 500?
Yes, sir.
You ever heard of the Dow Jones?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. What am I missing right here? The
NASDAQ.
NASDAQ.
You're
The
missing the
NASDAQ, you heard of
Sing
that?
Hang. Like if you talk about the Sing Hang, and that's those Asian markets.
Mm.
Yeah, and you can even do that. The Russell 5000. I mean, the Russell 2000, Wilshire 5000. So, what are these things? Let's break it all the way down so you will understand what's going on and where your money is going.
Mhm.
Because the reason why people are apprehensive about buying things is because they don't know what they're getting. And
Mhm.
so, us three, which I certainly appreciate, we want to find out what is it that you want? What is it that you desire? Okay, I can tell you what I think you should have, but I cannot speak for you.
Right.
I
Right.
can't speak for you. Okay.
Right.
So an index is like a S&P 500. Okay. We talked about that at Dow Jones. And so what is that? Okay. The Dow Jones is 30 stocks, right?
Yeah.
Dow Jones 30,
Mhm.
all put into a pile like a mutual fund. Okay. Except it's not called that in a life insurance policy or an annuity. We'll break all that down. We might have to have a part 2 about this. I'm almost certain we have to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Your S&P 500. Boom. That's 500 stocks, just like a mutual fund. Okay. And you know why they create mutual funds? Because they want to minimize the risk. Okay. This is how they do it. Sometimes it works out better than an individual stock that might tank, but it's a whole nother story for another different day. We'll take it on. So when you're selling somebody an IUL or an index universal life policy, okay, you're also incorporating, like the brother Campbell said, is that and you have a life insurance component. All right. Well, what I'm going to say, I'm going to reverse this just a little bit. You have the life insurance, and those indices,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
individually an index, okay, is a component of that life insurance policy, because the main thing that sustains that goals is your life insurance. Now, something else. He's talking about taking a withdrawal. That's like I'm taking money out of my policy. I may not want to do that.
Right.
I may don't want to borrow from that policy, and then I don't have to wait until a certain age to do that if I borrow from it.
Right.
Okay, I can borrow from my policy. Now, the only way I'm gonna be able to borrow from my policy, that means that it's gonna have to have cash value.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, I got my insurance here, and then I've got a bank here.
Right.
Okay, and
Mhm.
as that policy makes money,
Mhm.
okay, as the policy makes money, I have money that's going to be deposited into my bank. Are you following me so far?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's what's happening. So when you take a young person, oh my goodness, I'm glad you said this too, Brother Campbell, because a younger person, I want to, oh yeah, yes, I want him to have an IUL. And I like what you said about some cultures. Instead of gifting a car or gifting, well, if you got a baby or something like that, instead of gifting toys and things of that nature, they give them a life insurance policy, which we need to start doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And never, ever for a child a term policy.
No.
Mhm.
No.
No, absolutely not.
Mm.
Because it's so cheap. Why not give them the value for that dollar?
Exactly.
Okay, we'll get into that a little bit later on. And I see Brother Marshall wants to jump in here. I understand, brother. I'm going to let you go in a second here. But let's understand what an IUL is.
Mhm.
Okay? Index Universal Life, yes, I am pro that for a younger person. Now, you have to define young. All right? I would say anybody up to age 1 to age 45.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's actually 15 days.
Absolutely. Or
15
yeah,
days old.
15, yeah.
15 days old. No, 2 days old. I don't care. But the point that I'm getting at, that's an IUL. For an
Right.
older person, I might offer them a whole life or a UL.
Right.
A UL is universal life. We'll talk about that. We'll talk
Right.
about it a little bit. I'm going to let Brother Marshall jump right on in. Brother Marshall, whatever you want to add.
Well, your segue was perfect. So, in my mind, life is a time hustle,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if me and my daughter, who's 15, start to save $1 a day from here until now that we're 65, she's going to have way more money because she has more time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, the IUL is the vehicle that you create generational wealth. I get an IUL on my daughter at 15 days old.
Mm-hmm.
I put $100 a month into it,
Mm-hmm.
and we just rock it out, right?
Mhm.
So when she's 15, she has $30,000-$40,000 in there. When she gets ready to go to college, it's 50,000-60,000. What can she do?
Right.
She's her own bank.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because I've taught her correctly, wherever she works, she's going to get a life insurance policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what my policy is? Inheritance to my grandkids. I read somewhere that a wise man don't take care of his kids, he take care of his kids' kids.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So
Right.
the generational curse,
Legacy.
Right.
Mhm.
Legacy.
generational curse is on the
Yeah.
man, because
Yeah.
if you ain't taking care of your kids, then how can you take care of your kids' kids?
There you
Right.
go.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You feel me? So
Uh-huh.
that
Right.
IUL, by the time they 50, 60 years old, you talking 500, 600, $1 million. That's
Yeah.
just off $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And
If they're
you
young
get to
enough.
yeah. And you get to use your money 3 times. The life
Mhm.
insurance, the accumulation value, and policy loans.
Mhm.
So if I borrow money from myself, I'm gonna pay myself back.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Most people borrow the money and let it come off the top. No, this is a revolving door. Pay yourself back.
Mm-hmm.
When you have enough money, go buy an asset.
That's right. That's right.
And
And you guys, I know I'm gonna let you finish it, brother. Let me ask both of you, brother Dion and brother Steve. Have you heard of this book called "Be Your Own Banker"?
yeah.
Be
I got
your
it.
own banker. And there's other books out there that have different titles to it.
Uh-huh.
And let me just, and Sister Tanisha and Brother Robert, and to our global audience, what does that concept mean? And it came from, remember when we opened, and I mentioned something about the Rockefellers and that nature. They've got generational wealth after generational wealth, and it started with doing exactly what we're talking about, folks.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on, let's
Right.
think about this. Let's think about this, all right, for a second. Ray Kroc, Disney, and we can go on and on and on about how these people have utilized the system that's available to us. The only thing that wasn't available to us is the knowledge that is
Right.
there. Because do you think that if it were explained to us properly, that we wouldn't have taken advantage of this?
Right.
And that's why I appreciate what Brother Campbell said, is that getting down to and educating people. And I think if our people were, and I know, if our people were more educated about what we're talking about, then
Right.
we'll have more participation. I
Mhm.
promise you that. But the thing about it is, when you meet with an insurance agent, the average insurance agent shoots his own self in the butt.
Yes.
Because he
No,
walks in there with the assumptions
Right.
based on what you said, Brother Campbell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that these people might be cash. I mean,
Cash poor.
cash poor.
Yeah.
They might have all of the things that you say. Wow, this is
Right.
a bad house. That's
Right.
a nice car. They might be mortgaged up to the hilt, and
Exactly.
the only way they're able to sustain because the husband and wife have good jobs.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So not to cut you off, but one question, like I have the same 5 questions that I've been asking, golly, for the last 10 years, and I sort of tweak it based on the person that I'm talking to. Is I would always say, well, how much coverage are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
And so the tweet came with, how much money can you comfortably spend each month?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Huh? How much
Yeah.
can you comfortably spend? Because
Absolutely.
you have that person that'll say, "Oh, well, I want $300,000." Well, everybody wants $300,000 until they see how
They
much
can't afford
$300,000 costs.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
we have to be smarter. We have to be better as
Mhm.
agents. So, like I said, I tweak mine with, "Sir or ma'am, how much can you comfortably spend each month?" And then what I would do, I would build your proposal based on what you say that you can spend. All right.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing, folks. What we have to remember is we always have to let them feel or give them a sense of control and also a sense of ownership, because these are your numbers, ma'am or sir. These are not my numbers. These are your numbers. After we did the fact finding and I asked that question and you said that you could comfortably spend this each month. Okay, well, this is what you can get for this. Oh, well, that's not a whole lot. Well, it's what you can get for what you said that you can spend.
Mm,
So
that's exactly
would you be
right.
okay? Would you be okay if
Oh.
maybe we looked at another set of numbers? Or we can always say, well, look, it's better to have a little bit of something than a whole lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's get something today. And as your financial picture gets a little better, a little clearer, we move some debts and things around. We can always come back and add some more. Because for me, see, I don't have to get all the money out of the house at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not greedy. I'm not greedy.
Mm-hmm. That's
I'm
right.
gonna
That's
get it-
right.
Right. I can get some today. I can come back in a year, like, when I do
Yeah.
that policy review and whatnot, right? Because I'm going to do a policy review every year.
Right.
Right. Because if you had a child who's about to graduate, I definitely want to touch base and congratulate you on doing a good job and getting that child out of school and going on to, bigger and better things. But hey, the thing about it is, right, you have to stay in contact with them. You need to contact your clients at least 3 to 4 times a year.
Mhm.
Other
You
than
have
calling and letting them know, hey man, that EFT didn't come through. We need to go on and get that back on track. We need to get that on track. You need to check with them on their birthday. Check with them at Christmas time. If you know they've had a death or something in the family, send them a card. Call them. Go buy if you can. And don't take any chicken over there. People need some breakfast food. Take some orange juice, some water, and some eggs and bacon and cheese. I'm just telling you from personal experience. That's
You're
the way
right.
we do it at the Diamond Insurance Group. That's what we do here.
Well, I tell you what, and the clients appreciate it too.
Yeah, they do. Yes,
They do appreciate it because what one complaint I've had from people that I acquired that left whatever agent they had or weren't satisfied, they
Right.
said, he or she never calls me.
Right.
They don't call me.
Right.
And I tell you something else. And if you don't do it as agents, you might be missing out because to you, you just sold them a policy.
Right.
Some other guy comes in there and another agent or he might come in and sell them an annuity.
Right. Right.
Okay. And when you finally get back in contact with them for whatever reason, they said, "Oh yeah," I said, and because I said, "Oh, I just called back now, and this may have been a year and a half, 2 years later. I just called checking on you and stuff like that, and I just want to know how is your insurance? You satisfied with your insurance or whatever questions I'm asking, right?" They said, "Oh yeah." I said, "What has changed since I saw you?" Now they said, "Oh yeah, well I had I had a 401k from another job,
Right.
and I rolled it over into an annuity with someone else." Now, guess what? If you had done your fact finder, like Campbell had said, you would know that they had a 401k at another place.
Right.
You would have known that. But what happens is either you are a professional broker agent or you're an order taker.
Right.
Wow.
That's a
And
good
I tell you what, I heard that several years ago, right? Now, do you want to be a professional agent or do you want to be an order taker? I said, whoa.
Right.
That's an insult.
Yeah.
Call me
Pretty
an
much
order
is.
taker.
Right.
All the studying that I had to do. I just told you guys about the CEs that I have to complete right here.
Right.
But no. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to do the job while you're there, just ask them a few more questions.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now you said you're interested in insurance. Let's talk about the type of insurance that may suit you. Okay. May suit you. Are you looking for growth? You looking for protection?
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna switch gears. What I'm gonna stay on the same subject, but I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. They said, well, yeah. And I said, well, what do you do? Well, I do this. I'm an accountant at XYZ.
Mhm.
But let me ask you a question. Had you ever thought about starting your own business?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've thought about starting my own business. But,
Right.
you know, I said, well, why haven't you done that? Well, because I can't afford to do that. I don't have the money necessary to do that. Okay. Now, I want you guys to listen to me very carefully.
Right.
If you think about this, that can kind of help you kind of determine, well, what type of insurance can I sell this person and why would it motivate them to purchase it? And now, if I'm going to start a whole business, do you know like a whole life policy,
Right.
an IUL
Mhm.
or a UL,
Mhm.
or even a variable universal life policy
Right.
can accumulate cash that they
Right.
can take out to start their business?
Right.
Yep.
Whoa,
Mhm.
I didn't know that could happen.
Mhm.
Are you serious right now?
Mhm.
You know what? And if that is a true desire of theirs,
Mhm.
you may have just made a sale as the broker or agent, but also you've done them a huge favor.
Right. But then another favor that we do for those guys is whenever you have that business owner, and I do this thing, man, I call it let's run the fire drill. They're gonna say, well, what's the fire drill? I said, well, you know why you got into this, but do you know how to get out of it?
Mhm.
Nobody focuses on the exit.
Nobody focuses on the exit. Oh, I know how I got in. And so we want to help you get out. And so, let's go ahead and let's create a nice key man policy for you. Let's go ahead and put a key man policy in place, because here's the thing. We're going to put it on you. We're going to put something on all the officers, because here's what happens. Say for whatever reason, Joe, he's your right-hand man. He gets sick, he gets ill, and sure, he's a part of your company, and he passes away. Okay, well, you're going to have to, him not being here, you're going to be losing some valuable revenue. And also, you also want to be able, Joe's wife. Okay, he was a business partner. She owns a part of your business more or less if the paperwork was done correctly, but maybe you don't want her in there with you.
Do you want to deal with his wife?
Policy. Because listen, Joe didn't want her at the office, so what makes you think you're going to want her in the office? With you. So, but that key man policy, what it'll do, you can pay to keep her out of there.
That's why I'm laughing. I knew what he was going to say. I knew what he was going to say, and that's exactly right. Oh, hey, Tiffany, let's welcome Sister Swing Sister Tiffany Hilliard. Hey, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us. I am having a great time. We are talking about money. And look, we can't do what we do if we don't have it. Take the 6 of us that's on this panel tonight. Without money, we couldn't do what we do. No. Any of us. Okay. Matter of fact, you wouldn't even have a phone or a computer to be able to log into this broadcast. Right. All right. You couldn't transact your business. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. But we're talking about something beyond that. We're talking about using life insurance. And I'm gonna go to Brother Marshall in a minute. Life insurance to do a couple of things: protect your family, okay, building wealth, leaving a legacy, and we talked about this earlier. Generational wealth. I'm passionate about this because I've seen other cultures do it. And now I'm gonna say something else. There was a statistic that I read about 20 years ago. That you take the black communication, the black people right here in this country, and you put all of our wealth, what we generate, because we make money.
Yes, we do.
We spend a lot of money too.
Yep.
Okay. And sometimes unnecessarily. All right. And if you take and put us all together, pool everything that we make, all we make, that we would have the wealth of a small country, if not larger.
If we control our spending.
Repeat that.
If we control our spending, because we
control our spending,
because we're buying
merchandise,
liquid soap and Gucci flip flops, and You know,
Bling,
all
bling.
that other stuff.
Hey, don't leave out the bling. brother.
Cars, jewelry as well.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Or
So
what?
where we spend our money
Mhm.
is the problem. Like
It
we
is a
buy
problem.
all the stuff to look like we got money, but
Mhm.
but then when it's time to die, we selling fish plates and chicken plates to bury people.
That's right.
Now, and you telling me, a
Mhm.
young person, you've got a pair of $400 Jordans on your feet. All right.
Mm.
Mhm.
And you got other, you know, the wardrobe is tight. And I know because I used to be young and stupid too. I used to be young and stupid. Like, you know, and I knew I was the best dressed guy
Mhm.
wherever I went. Because that's where I even sacrificed. I remember I was young. I was 20, 21 years old, whatever it is. And I said, okay, do I buy a car or do I keep buying my clothes and ride the bus? I chose to ride the bus. And you know, and
But you was
because
fresh on the bus, right? You was fresh.
Right.
I should have bought the bus. But the thing about it is, you're right. Where you put our money. So where you put your money. Take a young person right now. Let's get back to this right now.
Mhm.
Think about what you can do with life insurance.
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna break it down a little bit because I'm big on education. We talk about term insurance. It has its place. And Brother Campbell mentioned something about key man insurance. But let's break it down. Term, whole life,
Mhm.
IUL, index universal life.
Right.
Then you got universal life.
Right.
And you got variable universal life. Let me explain to you. We talk about an IUL, that is index universal life. We talk about what an index is. An index like the Dow Jones, you know, or the S&P 500. All right. What is a UL? Okay. We talked about the
Universal.
proceeds from an IUL or index universal life is based on what those the cash depends on what those indices or that index produces. Okay,
Yeah.
makes for you. Well, what is a UL? What is that based on? Where does that money come from? Okay, and we talk about that. That is a great vehicle for some older people. Okay, older or maybe 45 and older, and depends on the risk tolerance of the
That's right.
individual.
Mhm.
Okay, it might be a little bit younger. All right. UL is based on interest rates.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't even know what that is. I mean, what a UL is, or like you said, Brother Campbell earlier, they don't know what an IUL is. You didn't know what it was, and you were an agent since 2005, and you found out in 2014.
Right.
Mhm.
If Brother Campbell, as an agent, didn't know, you know, the world didn't know. They couldn't have known.
Mhm.
But see, also that's the fault of maybe some companies that he was working with, because the companies tend to push certain products.
They
Right.
sure do.
Right.
The Shenandoah project. Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. And that's the beauty of being an independent broker,
Yes.
because I'm not married to any company.
No. At all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which also gives me the opportunity to present options for my clients.
Right.
It also gives me the ability to absorb and obtain and get more valuable information to produce to my client. Because if I only know one thing, I can only sell one thing.
That's it.
You have to understand that.
Mhm.
So you got a couple of things that's going on, and that's the beauty of what the us three brothers do together.
Right.
We're not tied to anyone.
Nope.
Okay, that means that we have the option of shopping for you
That's it.
and finding out what the best fit is for you.
Mhm.
All right. So UL is based on interest rates. What is a variable universal life policy? A variable universal life policy is based on the stock market.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's based on the stock market. So you certainly don't want to sell that to someone who's 70 years old who
No.
just retired.
Right.
Coming at that you know, no.
Well, you could, but
You
but
can.
that's not very. But you know, that's when your ethics and whatnot come into play.
Oh Lord, I just took my ethics exam again. Oh God,
You could.
I hate
You
that
could.
exam. But
Yeah.
go on.
But
I
you
don't hate it
want
because ethics isn't important. I hate
Very
it
much
because
so.
it's so doggone complicated. But go
Right.
on. I mean,
Right.
the test.
Well,
Right.
it's more common sense. Like, do what you're supposed to do. Look,
Right.
all right. So the drug dealers, we all have to take anti-money laundering classes because of the cash in the 80s, right?
Right.
They taking drug money, they buying whole life,
Mhm.
and then they
Yeah.
taking the money out on the back clean.
Right.
That's right.
Now, that's shady because it's illegal money.
Right.
But the operation is the same with clean money.
Right.
If you get life insurance, whole life, and you put X amount of dollars in there, there is a benefit. So, there are people who are going to push the envelope all the time, but I ain't losing my license and going to jail
No.
for $500,
No.
Look, I'm telling you,
$1,000, $10,000. It's not worth it.
Not
it
worth
is not worth it.
Uh-uh.
And I'm gonna tell you, and I'll give you a story here in a minute. I have a client right now that has 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $1 million whole life policies.
Mm.
Okay.
I thought it was based
And
on
now we talk about whole life. How is the money determined in whole life? I talked about an IUL was based on the index, right?
and the
I talk about a UL that's based on interest rates.
Mhm.
Okay, I talk about a VUL or a variable universal life that's based on the stock market.
Mhm.
Where does whole life money come from? Whole life money comes from dividends,
Right.
company dividends.
Dividends. Right. Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so folks, and all of these instances we're talking about is a way that you can accumulate money.
Right.
All right, you can put money in, and you got two parts to that. That money goes in two things. You got insurance,
Yes.
and you got your bank.
Right.
Your bank is what you call your cash value.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, this is what we're talking about. Let's focus on this. That's why it's important for you to when your children are born, get them a whole life policy.
Right.
Because guess what? It's going to do a couple things. It's going to build cash.
Exactly.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
It's going to build cash in that policy.
Right.
And what happens when a child gets ready to go to college? You may have some money in there to take care of whatever expenses there are. But
Exactly.
if they don't use it for college, they got a scholarship.
Right.
It might help them buy their own home,
Right.
Yeah.
or it can help them start their own business.
Right.
This is how you generate generational wealth.
Right.
Or let's say it builds up to the point that my client who has 5 $1 million policies, he'll call me up. He owns a real estate agency.
Mhm.
And he's up in Big Bear. No, he's not in Big Bear. He's in Lake Arrowhead, California. Okay. I just transitioned from California out here to Virginia, right? But anyway, back home. But anyway, he'll call me up because where he is, it's in climate that it could snow so much that the traffic is, so it's seasonal.
Mhm.
Okay. In the warmer weather, his business does great. When it gets to be snowing and stuff like that, okay, the business lacks. So he'll call me up, William, I need $25,000. I'll go to one of his whole life policies, okay, and send him $25,000, and he'll have that in less than 7 days.
Right.
Now, what did he do? He has 2 $1 million policies on himself. He has one $1 million policy on his wife. He has one $1 million on his daughter and one $1 million on his son.
And he's
the owner of all of those policies.
Right.
And he can take money out of any of those policies that he wants.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is folks. This is how you build generational wealth. Where you use one of these, a whole life IUL, VUL, UL, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
We need to start getting in the game, folks.
Hey,
Right.
We
Brown.
need to start getting in the game, because with that, we can start. Guess what? That business that you want to start, you don't have to go to the bank and pay interest on the money you're going to borrow from them. You can borrow it from yourself out of your own doggone policy.
Very true.
Come on, folks.
Yes, sir.
No, you're saving so many ways because you don't have to pay that interest. Any of us here have a car note or a house note?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. If we didn't have to pay the interest, guess what?
Right.
It'd be paid off.
I'm telling you, totally.
Okay. Brother Marshall, you had your hand raised.
I was an agent with Northwestern Mutual, and their main thing
Mhm.
is whole life.
Mhm.
So
Uh-huh.
the North Carolina manager showed us his illustration for his whole life policy. Annually, he was putting $125,000.
What?
That was probably his bonus.
Oh,
That was probably his bonus. I mean, now
Ooh.
Northwestern, big company, been around forever.
Great company. It's a good company.
Yeah, so it's $6 million in cash value.
Good.
No, it's $4 million in cash value and $6 million
Definitely.
in, like $25,000. I told my friend about it, and he said, "Well, that's a stupid investment." In my mind, I'm like, what would make someone put that kind of bread into anything? It has to be a good reason.
absolutely. Mhm.
You know what I mean? So he can't spend all that money. So when he dies, that money goes to who?
That's right.
Right.
So Big
Whoa.
Mama and Mimo don't die the same.
Come
When
on now.
Big Mama die and they wheel that casket down the aisle, they fall out. Go to Mima's funeral. Ain't nobody crying.
That's right. Ain't nobody falling out.
'Cause they know
They
they gonna sit at a long table with the guy at the end with a briefcase.
That's
They're gonna give you up the assets.
Yeah,
It's
they
a
don't think
completely
about
different
nobody.
experience.
I know.
Totally.
That's right.
Totally.
Oh my God. You know what? Hey, brother, I'm laughing because you're so right. You
Yeah.
go to a poor man's funeral, everybody falling out. You go
I've
to a
seen
rich
it.
man's funeral, you know, you can
They
borrow,
ain't even crying.
and a pen gonna drop.
Right.
Uh,
Nobody's crying.
Quietly, you might have some people applauding. Yeah, I'm glad he's
Yeah,
gone.
they've been waiting on this guy. Yeah.
Right.
But I need that truck and that land and
Right.
the summer house in Vermont.
That's
Mhm.
right. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Hey, guys, like I said earlier, I do a show Tuesdays before Groove Swing Speaks, and it's called Money Talk.
Right.
I'm gonna have these two brothers on with me
Right.
Mhm.
soon.
Now,
Okay, and
Right.
you guys need to tune in. And
Right.
folks, we need to have this conversation. I don't know how many people listening right now. Hey, Bruce J, the entertainer, Velour Brand. Hey guys, how are you? These are recording artists, and they just tuned in. I
Right.
love these guys because they tune into everything we do.
Mhm.
Velour gave us the highest compliment one time,
Right.
and I said she tunes into everything. She said because we have great shows,
Right.
and that's because of people like Robert Hicks, people like Tanisha Holmes, people like Tiffany, my brother Clayton Brown. You guys are absolutely wonderful, and I thank you for that.
Well,
Tonight, I like I said, this is one of the most important shows that we've done,
Right.
because none of us can survive without economic resources.
exactly.
We need these resources. We have to have places to live. We have to be able to eat. We need to educate our children.
Right.
We need to have a proper education for them. And so what we're talking about are ways that you can provide for their education. And anybody that's under the sound of my voice right now, if you have a child right now, if you have a grandchild, buy them a policy,
Right.
a whole life policy.
Right.
Okay, it can be a VUL, a variable universal life policy, an IUL.
Right.
And I promise you, okay, you're going to thank us later for that.
But you
Because
know,
this is how the wealthy has been getting wealthy for generations and generations and hundreds of years.
right.
Okay, do you know? I was a partner with the New York Life Insurance Company. I was an agent first with the New York Life Insurance Company. But prior to that, I worked for Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. Okay, I worked for them. Then I worked for a bank, and then I went on to New York Life, and I further became a partner. And we talked earlier about the number of people that's in our industry that looks like us.
Mhm.
There has to be more. We need to do more. We need to educate. And like our brother Marshall was saying, that he went to, and I forgot whether it was brother Marshall or brother Campbell, say you go to these seminars and you look around and you see, and you look at
Right.
the people that's there,
Right.
the white people that's there,
Oh, yeah.
Hispanic
Asian
people that's there, Asian people that's there, the
Yeah.
black people that's there.
Right.
And what I took from that and what I've experienced,
Mhm.
we're underrepresented, folks.
Yes, we are. Yes.
Who's
But
talking to us? Who
Right.
said that? Who's
Mhm.
talking to us?
right. Let me just, Steve, Ben, if I can just throw this, man, I got a burning desire to just say this right here.
Please.
When we look
And
at
then Steve.
the part of our population that is marginalized,
Mm.
we have a part of our population that's marginalized. We have a part of our population that is low income. We have a part of our population that may suffer from some health concerns and whatnot, right?
Mhm.
And we need to be talking to those people too.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
You cannot be afraid, and I know none of us on here are there, but folks, there's a lot of money over in a lot of those projects. There's a lot of money, man, in some of those low income housing areas and whatnot, right? You know, some people don't want to go in them, but guess who's going in them? Mr. John and Mr. Billy going in them. They don't look like me and you, but they'll go in there because they know there's money in there. I learned that a long time ago.
But they're selling specific types of policies, right?
Right. And what
I
they're
remember
selling
my
is,
grandmother, the white guy would come and
Right.
pick up
yeah,
the money from my aunts and stuff.
right.
I can see his face right now.
Yeah, those are those old debit agents. Those are those old debit agents that came up, and everybody on here remembers grandma and them had that thing hanging up, you know, behind the door where you put those quarters in and all this and that. But at the same time, grandma and them didn't ever borrow no money from anybody whenever Uncle Billy got killed down there at the gambling house.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
There was no GoFundMe when Nana was alive.
They never had to go to the pastor and say, look, I need you to preach my boy's funeral and I'll give you something, you know, once I get paid.
Mhm.
So there's money there. So in that marginalized community and whatnot, right, that lower income community, we still need to educate those folks, because guess what? That grandma be the one that'll not only buy a small policy for her, but she'll be the one to put one on her son or her daughter who hadn't come in yet. She'll also put something on those grandchildren. Why?
That's right.
Because she cares about them and she loves them. And she just wants you to come in there and sit and talk and whatnot, right? Don't come in there in a rush. Don't come in there with you, you know, with your three-piece suit on, and don't act like you got to keep looking at your watch like you got somewhere to go when you're in there. Because I'm gonna tell you, at that kitchen table, oh man, I'm a monster at that kitchen table. Hey,
You love the kitchen table.
yes, ma'am. Hey, yes, ma'am. I want some of that lemonade. Yes, ma'am. I want some of that. If you don't have any cold water, yeah, give me some of that tea you got in there.
And some of that peach cobbler.
Do that for me.
Yeah.
And listen, and then the old man will say, boy, what kind of shoes those you got on? I said, man, you know, they're them Cole Haans. I say, you know, you can have them if you want to. They for sale. They for sale. But we do that. Why do we do that? We do that because, you know, we have to show ourselves as genuine. We have to show ourselves as friendly. We have to show ourselves as though that I'm not, some might be better off, but none is better than. Sure, we have that education, so we need to share a lot more people who look like us and who will value us at some point. And so, you know, sure, it's good talking about, you know, some of the policies that we've talked about for our friends who have money, but we also need to talk about our friends who may not have as much as the other. You know, they need us too. They need us too.
Northwestern Mutual, they used to have code words for the type of clients that they wanted us to talk to. You know what I mean? So disposable income and all these terms, you know, that person needs insurance just like this rich person. And there's more of them than it is of the rich people. So my goal is to make you a client.
Exactly.
And once you're a client, based on what you need, I can work on you to get your weight up, because now we're communicating.
Like we say, give me 5 people that want to spend $50 a month, as opposed to one
Mhm.
person who wants to spend 200, and I bet you $1 to a donut plus the whole. 3 years from now, I'll still have at least 3 of those folks spending 50 with me, and that person that spent that 200 is long gone.
Amen.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
I've been selling insurance a long time.
Uh-huh.
I've been selling it a long time. I know what I'm talking about.
Dion, I take a different approach. I let people know that they butt naked out here.
Mm. Mm.
If you couldn't work for 6 months, where's your money come from? Cricket.
Mhm.
Cricket. If it's not if it happens, it's
It's-
when it happens.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
We already know the reason the doctor smack you on your butt when you're a baby is the expiration date, but you can't see it.
Mm.
So we all gonna expire it. If you know this, right? Why wouldn't you get the insurance when it's the cheapest when you're younger?
That's
Why
right.
are you calling me and your uncle is 79 years old and he ain't got no insurance? Ain't nobody thought about this in 79 years?
Right.
And
And he got cancer. And he just got diagnosed with cancer.
oh no.
Yeah.
And the older, and see what you have to understand. Well, let me think about it. Let me think about it for 6 months. Well, do you know in 6 months you're going to be a year older? Well,
Mhm.
no, I'll still be 73. I mean, I'll still be 33. No, you won't.
Not
That's
in
according
insurance.
to the insurance. Insurance, they always advance it 6 months.
6
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could be 33.
Unless you pay for it.
and-
That's
and
right.
check this out.
But
You
gotta
you
pay
could be
for
30. Yeah, you could be 33 years old, and there's 4 months to go to your birthday. And you said, okay, I'm gonna put on. Well, I'm 33 years old, and I have to explain to the clients now. According to insurance, you're 34 because they're gonna advance your age 6 months.
That's right.
A lot of people don't know
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And so, the longer you put this thing off,
The more it's gonna cost.
the more it's gonna cost you.
Woo, say it again.
That's why it's so important, folks. If you got children out there, don't get rid of that taboo about something's going to happen if you buy a life insurance policy. I don't know where that came from.
You're gonna die
Okay,
anyway.
all of us going to die.
Yeah, you're
Baby-
gonna die anyway. So not 'cause you got the policy.
Babies die.
That's
Mm.
right.
Babies die, which is tragic, and it could be a baby from anywhere that I don't know, and my heart still goes out.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that to happen, but it's inevitable.
Right.
That is going to happen.
Yeah.
But the main point that we're trying to drive home tonight, folks,
Mhm.
there is a living benefit to life insurance.
Yes.
And so once we get that off to over to our clients, that you have more to gain than you have to lose. Matter of fact, it's a win-win situation.
Right.
If you live, you win. If you die, you win,
Right.
Mhm.
or your family wins.
Exactly.
So it's a win-win situation. You have to look at it this way. Look at the benefits, and you have to look at balance it out. Okay, they have. I mean, the positive of it or the negative. And I really can't think of a negative when it comes to life insurance unless your agent sold you the wrong thing. Let me tell you what I run into.
Right.
A couple of things. People bought when they were in their 30s,
Mhm.
they bought a term life insurance policy. Or when they were in their 20s, they had a term life insurance policy. And now they are 40 or they're 50,
Yeah.
or if they bought it later, they could be
Later.
60 years old.
Mhm.
And guess what? When it comes back to renew,
Mhm.
folks, you have to understand with the term policy. And many of you out there have term policies.
Right.
Listen to us very carefully. Matter of fact, you can get to one or three of us. I'm in Virginia. Those two brothers in North Carolina. We're gonna give out information before the
Yeah.
information is over. Matter of fact, I thought we might even form a firm between the three of us called the Breakdown Insurance Company, because we're gonna break it down to you.
Mhm. Oh,
Give
yeah.
you or the nitty gritty.
Uh-huh.
Can I say something real quick?
Or the nitty, yeah. And we're gonna tell you the truth about what's happening here.
Mhm.
Exactly.
If you
Check
have a
this
term policy, please check the date.
Yes.
You
Okay.
have to do
Because
policy
I'm gonna
reviews like Dion said.
I'm
You
gonna
know?
tell you exactly what's gonna happen. And these two brothers can confirm this. when that renewal date, let's say you paying, or you bought it when you were young, and you paying $29 a month.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've got this policy at $29 a month when I was 20 years old. Could be what, $100,000? Could be $100,000. I'm just throwing this out here. Okay,
Right.
I know I'm close. Or $200,000, whatever, somewhere in that ballpark.
Right.
And now, 20 years later,
Mhm.
you get that renewal notice.
Yes.
That policy is not $200, and not what you paid, but not what I said, 29.
Yeah. 29.
500.
That policy is going to be $229.
Right.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm getting at, folks?
Uh-huh.
And it could be higher if your health is, well, they probably won't check your health because they just ask you to renew it. So they probably won't do that.
Mhm.
Okay. But the
Right.
thing that I'm getting at, that policy can cost you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times more than you paid for it in the very beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if that agent was doing his job, like
Uh-huh.
Brother Dion said first, okay, send him a whole life policy. Because it may have cost, that whole life policy may have cost him $40 a month at that time,
Exactly.
or $45 or $50.
Right.
Okay.
And he could have been borrowing from. But just to jump in here, right? Believe it or not, guys, back in August, I had a case just like that. I have a couple. He is 78, and the spouse, she's 68. They
Right.
bought term insurance when they first bought their home almost 30 years ago. Here they are now. They just got the letter that it's going to be running out, and if they want to renew, this thing is probably gone up like maybe three, I think at least 3 times of what it was whenever they first got started. And so the conversation was, okay, in reality, how much insurance do you all need right now? Because the house is paid for. Your children are adults. Both of them are doctors and things of this nature. You don't need that much coverage. So one of the daughters, who is a doctor, she was like, well, how much do you think that they need? I said, that is going to be purely up to their spending power. How much, and the dad is the one that said, look, he asked his daughter, we were sitting all there at the kitchen table together. I told you, man, I'm bad at that kitchen table. She said, well, I'm not going to pay anything. So the dad looked at me and he reached across and he grabbed my hand. He said, won't you just focus on me and my wife? I said, because I'm trying to I'm doing my best, to be respectable and courteous and whatnot, because, the daughter is there and she's looking out for her mom and dad, not realizing that, I'm looking at them as though they're my parents as well, because they favor my mom and dad.
Right.
Okay. So, and again, we look alike. So I'm not there trying to hurt anybody, because here's the thing, my name is all I got. It's all I've ever had.
Right.
And like, like Steve said earlier, my license means more to me than any amount of money that I could get out of anybody's house. So before the night was over, we came up with a comfortable amount that, he could spend each month and whatnot. So, we got that in place, and believe it or not, I'm going back. I think we're meeting Friday at 4:30 because I'm getting ready, to take care of their Medicare policies as well. Again, we don't leave any money on the table. Granted, we don't go in there trying to grab everything, but if the opportunity is there for us to be able to continue to have the internet, have a computer, wear glasses and things like that, we need to grab as much as we can. But again, there's a way to do it, because, we are in the service industry, whether we want to believe it or not.
We are.
We're in the service industry.
Yes, sir.
And we have a fiduciary duty to our clients.
Fiduciary responsibility. Yes, we do.
Absolutely. Yes. I got a question for you. Yes. So did dad look to the daughter and asked her, when you guys were looking at how much coverage and how much you were going to spend,
right?
Did dad look to the daughter and say, well, how much you want to put in? And she said, well, I'm not going to put in anything.
Exactly.
The daughter wasn't thinking. She was not thinking.
The money was going to her.
Yeah, because see, what had happened was really, the way she got so involved is because when I asked her a question, okay, now you all have had this policy for over 20 years. I said at no time during that 20-year period did it dawn on any of you all to look and call this agent and say, hey, can you come by? Let's have a conversation and whatnot, because we're getting to the end of this thing. I said that didn't dawn to anybody in this house. And of course it didn't, because no one in the house sells insurance. They were just going on the fact, okay, we got this in the event something happens, but now here we are. This thing is about to run out, and they see that the premium is tripled, almost 4 times more than it was, because they bought it whenever they were in their 30s.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've seen it go to more than that.
Yeah,
More than that.
Yes,
But
sir.
you know,
Okay.
like
Wow.
again, you know, sitting there with them and just asking basic questions, sir. What do you need now? What do we need
Right.
to do now?
Right.
You know,
And-
cars are paid for, house is paid for. You've taken care of the children. You've got them through school. You take care of your grandchildren. Now it's just, you know, how much are we looking at for a real nice service?
Mm.
And that's the way I put it to him.
You know, and
Hey,
I'm telling you,
you know, he said, hey, this is what I can spend between me and my wife. He said, hey, give me some numbers. And we sat there and we came up with numbers that they were comfortable with and whatnot, especially after, you know, the daughter kept chiming in and he wanted to know, how much are you going to spend on me and your mama's policies each month? And she said nothing. That's when he grabbed my hand. He said, Campbell.
you know what?
We'll take care of it.
I can't reiterate again. The daughter is not very smart at all,
No.
because they covered their basic burial expenses. Anything left over would have
Right.
gone to the daughter.
Right. Right.
So I would have come up with as much. With Dad, look here, Mom, how much you need? Look,
Right.
I'm gonna find $100 or $200 somewhere here. Okay,
Right.
sir,
Mhm.
see, they're not thinking. We need to start thinking, folks.
Yes.
And the only way to start thinking is to do shows like this, programs like this,
Right.
to help educate people, because
Right.
the three of us,
Right.
what I can tell, because I've spoken to these brothers recently, briefly though, and I think I told both brothers that what I really want to do is talk about how to build generational wealth, creating that. Okay. But we needed to break it down to you to give you the basics of what's happening. Because I think, again, I'm going to reiterate this, and this breaks my heart, is that our people really don't know the value of what we are talking about. Because there's, who's talking to us? Because nobody's been talking to us about this.
Right.
Come on, think about what I'm saying. And when we go into our workshops, or when we go to these seminars, and I told you when I graduated from Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, out of 250 people, there were less than 10 blacks. 10 black agents, brokers.
Yeah.
Okay. When I go into, I've gone into conventions where there were maybe 2,000, 2,500 to 3,000 agents. And I have to search around to look for some of us. I said, oh, I'm saying in the back of my mind, oh, there's one of us. There's one of us. There's
Right.
one of us.
Right.
I'm talking about thousands of agents, folks.
Mm.
This is ridiculous. And the reason why you got thousands of agents, because there's somebody that know what's going on out here, and our community is the last to get the information, because we don't have people like us, the three of us out there talking to a mass amount of people every day.
Hey, Brown.
And that's why I do this show called Money Talk Radio on Tuesdays, because we're gonna put a stop to this crap as much as we can. And you need to spread this with your audience, because Tiffany, we're talking about how you can create something where your child can go to college. We're talking about something that we can build our own businesses. We're talking about how we can leave a lasting legacy, and there's our ways to do it. And people and insurance has in our community is underestimated, underrated. Go on. Is that Brother Marshall? You have something to
Yes,
say?
sir.
Please.
I just want people to understand how powerful the insurance companies are. Me, Dion, and Brown, we write every black person in the United States. Do you know what will stop happening? Cops killing us,
Wow.
kill 2 or 3 people that's worth $1 million and see if the insurance company don't give you a call. Call his boy who's a congressman and say, hey, I don't know what y'all doing down there, but y'all need to stop.
You got a point there.
If we all had life insurance,
Uh-huh.
there would be no more random killings of black people.
Wow.
We're too
I had
valuable.
never thought about that.
That's smart. That's
So-
deep right there. That's really yeah.
So if we don't put a number on ourselves, how
Uh-huh.
can we expect people outside of our community to put a number or have value for our lives?
That's exactly right.
Right.
I never even thought about that at
Wow.
all. But you're right, because guess who our elected officials, even from localities, who are they beholden to? The power brokers.
Yes.
All right, they don't want to hurt the insurance companies, do they?
Nope.
Mhm.
And the more claims that the insurance company has to pay out.
Mhm.
That's why I'm gonna tell you something. Totally unrelated, but kind of related. That's why a lot of insurance companies move out. It had nothing to do with killings, anything like that, but out of Southern California because of protecting homes and things like that. You know, they had
Fires,
fire
yeah.
insurance, things like that. So it was costing them too much money.
Right.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, I had a client to call me, which I don't do property and casualty, and she was looking for to renew her home insurance because homeowners insurance because her company was leaving California.
Mhm.
So I called a friend of mine who owns a property and casualty business back there, and he said, "William, it's really bad. A lot of companies." Property and casualty companies that do homeowners policies, they are leaving California.
Mhm.
Okay, because of the claims they had to pay out. Look at all the wildfires every year out there. If you turn on TV and national news and you see towns devastated by these fires out there.
Mhm.
I mean, they are ugly.
Well, if we look at what happened in Western North Carolina,
Oh yeah,
you know
Mhm.
what,
Yeah.
you know, I sell property and casualty, so I can expect, you know, some folks, you know, to be reaching out and saying, hey, so and so, I just got my renewal letter, and they said that they're
Come on.
not going to cover me next year.
Oh
And it
yeah.
could be because, you know, because of all that devastation, a certain carrier, you know, is going to move out of the area. And,
That's
and,
right.
You know, speaking to, like, you know, let's look at Medicare. I sell Medicare. I've got certain areas where a plan was okay last year, but now a particular carrier isn't going to keep that plan in place. Why? Because they didn't have enough people to sign up for the plan, or there were so many claims that, you know, were being filed by that senior population that, hey, it's just not profitable for them, you know, to keep it on the books.
You know?
You know?
And that's why what we're talking about tonight. Let's say, do you think like people like any millionaires, you know, or billionaires, you know, do
Right.
you think that they're concerned about what we're talking about right now?
No, because they self-insure.
They're self-insured.
They self-insure.
Mhm.
Folks, why don't we become self-insured?
Mhm.
So things like this, okay, things like this that we're
Mhm.
talking about,
Mhm.
these are real life events,
Right.
okay? This is
Right.
not hyperbole.
No.
This is not conjecture. This
No.
is not, this is fact. This is life.
Right.
All of us, if you got a TV or radio or a cell phone,
Right.
you know what we're saying is true
Very true.
because these tragedies are happening.
Mhm.
And do you think that the rich people are concerned about what's going to happen right now?
No, they aren't.
No,
No, they
no.
aren't.
They're going to be all right anyway, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
We
sir.
need to get ourselves in a position to do that.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to keep educating our people
Right.
on what's available to them.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you something. There's a program which I absolutely love that came out when I was at the New York Life Insurance Company. You know, I need to stop giving them a plug. They're not sponsoring this show. or anything like that. Anyway, and it was grandparent gifting. And the way that works, instead of buying that grandchild a toy or a whole bunch of clothes and all this kind of stuff that they're going to outgrow and stuff like that, the grandparents would buy that child a whole life policy. Now, the beauty of that is that policy, okay, and included a letter. And it says, "Dear my beautiful grandchild, okay, I love you so much that I wanted to gift this to you, something that's going to last you for the rest of your life. Love you, Grandpa, Grandma." So I would tell a story when I talk to grandparents, and I sold grandparent policies because everything I said was true. They did love their grandchildren, and you know, grandparents, they will do anything. The
Yes, sir.
children love their grandparents over.
Well,
Move mountains for their
Definitely.
grandkids. Yes, they will.
Oh my God, they love their grandparents.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
now, also on that same note, when I started, you know, with Nationwide, you know, a lady came in the office and was wanting, you know, to get life insurance on her daughter and also on herself. And so she was
Okay.
telling me about her grandchild. I said, well, hey, you know, are you going to get any life insurance on the grandson? She said, she actually became very angry. I mean, visibly angry at me.
Why?
She said no, because no amount of money would bring my grandchild back if something were to happen to him. So, you know, again, I was young and you know, whatnot in the business. I thought I was doing what I know I was doing what I was supposed to do. But I learned a very valuable lesson that particular day that, you know, there are some people who are open to certain ideas that, you know, we're going to have and whatnot, and some aren't. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, there's nothing wrong with it because everybody values things differently. Just like, you know, all of us here on this call,
Right.
whatnot, and hopefully some of the folks that are, you know, listening as well, we know the value of having certain things put in place because the last thing that you want is, like Steve alluded to begin with, GoFundMe and fish fries and car washes and all that, man. That is not a good look. Or going to the pastor and saying, hey, we're not going to be able to pay you. Can you do this? And I'll get back to you. That's not a good look, man. Especially after me, I've been in the church, you know, for 40 years.
Mhm.
You know,
they
been paying in the
still got
building
building
fund for
fund.
45. You know, those aren't just good things.
Yeah.
There's a way that, you know, we can be a whole lot better. And it begins with economic empowerment. It begins
Absolutely.
with, like I say, you know, the grassroots for us is talking to that marginalized group and then letting them know that we value them. And there's things, you know, that we can do. And like we say, you know, it's the white man's ice isn't always colder.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Tiffany, I understand you might need to leave a little bit earlier here. What would you like to say? We've covered a lot of stuff, and I know you have at least one question or it may be a comment about what you're hearing tonight.
I do. Again, hola to my sisters and good evening, brothers. I do have one question. I don't know if you guys have already covered it or forgive me for being late, but what is it called when you purchase life insurance and in the event that someone passed away, but their house is not paid off?
Mhm.
And you need that insurance to pay off that house.
Mhm.
What is that called and how does that work?
Well,
Oh, you want to go first, brother? Go on, please.
yeah, sure. Hey, what we're talking about there, you know, is mortgage protection. And it's a fancy name for a term insurance policy. But the thing with that is this, you know, that should have been put in place or should be put in place whenever that purchase is made. And then whoever is, I guess, in charge of family business, you
The
know,
beneficiary.
yeah, you like, you know, that beneficiary has to know, okay, look, we got a $200,000 mortgage, we got a $250,000 term policies. In fact, we got two of them. I got one on your mama, I got one on me. If something happens, you know, in 5 years or so, you take money from that policy and you go down there and you give those folks a check, you know, to pay this house off so your mother doesn't lose the house or flip it. You go down there and you pay that money so your daddy doesn't lose the house. There's not that I know of, there's nothing that you can put in place that, you know, the mortgage company is going to control. You or whoever is the beneficiary, that was a conversation that should have been had
Mm.
whenever that policy was purchased.
I got a
As to
question.
how you want those funds to be, given out or whatever the case may be. But
Okay.
it's called mortgage protection. And if you've got a mortgage in the last 15 years, as soon as you get that mortgage, you're going to start getting stuff in the mail. You're going to get bombarded actually by people, not like me per se, but by companies, wanting to sell you that mortgage protection policy.
Let me ask you a question though. Let me ask you a question because I want to because you're talking about mortgage protection
Term
and
insurance, it's term. It's a
term insurance. Let's
Yeah.
say term insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with term insurance, and let's say the owner of that policy made me the beneficiary of that policy. Under
No.
term insurance.
No. You can't be the beneficiary of your own policy.
Wait a minute, hold it. No, I said the owner of the policy.
Okay.
Your wife.
My dad or whoever it is
Right.
made me the beneficiary.
Right.
Oh, you're exactly right. Well, the insurance company would tell me the same thing if I tried to do something stupid like that. That makes no sense. That means I died. The money goes to nobody.
Right.
It could be me.
Okay.
That's
So-
why you have contingent
But
owners.
Let's clarify something.
Yeah, that's why
Be real clear.
Yeah.
Basic term insurance.
Yes.
I got a $250,000 policy.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And my dad dies.
Right.
I'm the beneficiary.
Yeah.
I have that $250,000.
Right.
Okay. I can choose to pay off that mortgage or not, or
Right.
take the money and run.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
The beneficiary is control of that money.
Yes.
Right.
I don't have to do anything.
No.
I can throw the middle finger to the mortgage company.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
Right.
let's clarify that. That's what
Right.
happens there. Now,
Right.
the ethical person, and that's assuming, because guess what? If you got mother and father, that means that both are dead, right? Because let's say you have the policy, term policy, whatever it is, okay? And the idea is, if something happens to me, I want my mortgage taken care of. Okay,
Right.
whatever it is. All right. Then whoever that beneficiary is going to get in control of their money. It could be the wife.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And that could be money for her to live off of.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't have to pay off the mortgage because she's still in the house. She can
Right.
still keep the house.
Right.
That's the whole idea of buying the policy in the first place.
Right.
She
All
has
right.
options.
Yeah, think about that.
Again.
But now,
Congress-
also to Brother Cameron, let me share this with you.
Yeah.
There is something called mortgage protection insurance as well. That's a
insurance.
whole different thing.
It's
Now-
term insurance, babe. I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it is term, but it's a whole different thing. That's
But-
more.
mortgage protection is a fancy name for term insurance.
It's
Okay.
an expensive, fancy name for term insurance.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's an expensive, fancy name for term insurance.
Well,
I
then
recommend
guess
you
what? Then guess what? That doesn't mean that I have to pay off my mortgage with it.
Nope, you don't.
No, I don't have to. I can take the money and run.
Okay,
Now,
but look.
Let me. I'm going to share something with you guys
Yes.
that little people, most agents don't even know.
Mhm.
Most brokers don't even know. And I want to get back because when we started, we want to talk about how to create a legacy. Okay. And the reason why term insurance is just a term.
Mhm.
Some people, that's all they can afford to get what they want.
True.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, with most term policies, there's also something they call conversion.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that means that right now I just got married. My
Mhm.
budget is low. I've just got $25, $50 or whatever I can spend,
Right.
but I need more than what a whole life or IUL or UL or
Can't
Verbo will
afford it.
give me right now.
Right.
So I'm gonna buy term.
Mhm.
Now, if your agent was on his game, he would say, okay, you buy this right now. This is what we want to do in maybe 1 or 2 years. We want to take 25% of this policy and convert this into a whole life policy.
Right.
Yeah.
In the next 2 or 3 years, convert that to a whole life policy.
Right.
In the next 2 or 3 years, convert that into a whole life policy.
Right.
And in the next 2 or 3 years, convert that in a whole life policy. Now, with the assumption that wages increase over time,
Mhm.
okay? Because guess what? Over time, okay, wages have increased, inflation has increased, okay, meaning you get raises on your job, performance bonuses, and things like that. So your financial situation could be a lot different in 5 years, okay, than it was when you first purchased this policy.
Right.
Okay.
And I have something called I have a policy that's called right with the return of premiums after 30 years. You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about? Sold
Yeah.
to me. So I
You
thought,
pay more
Huh?
monthly,
But-
and at the end of the term, you get the money back.
right.
Yeah.
But-
If you choose to do that. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Like
That's
I'm
not a
raising my
bad
hand
policy.
because I just got.
I'm
Go
sorry.
Let's go back to what. Good. Let's go back to what the sister's question was.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not the moderator or anything of that nature, but I think we need to make sure that we're answering her question because it was her question.
Yes.
You know, did we cloud it up or did we clear it? You know, what did we do, sis?
Um,
By the look on your face, I think we clouded it up.
Let me take a shot.
Okay. Wait a minute. Hold it. Before you do that, let's go back and Tiffany, start off with your question again. We want clarification here. Okay.
Yeah, so say, for instance, you purchase a house and let's say I purchase a house and or in the process of purchasing one. And so you're saying, well, let me back that up. My mother is paying mortgage on a house. So she doesn't own it yet, but she's paying mortgage on it. Now, I honestly don't know if she has that type of insurance or not. Whereas if something was to happen to her, will the house be taken care of? Now, you guys said that at the time of purchase, that should have been taken care of. My question now is it too late? Because now we're like 20-something years in the game, still paying on this mortgage. Is it too late to purchase term insurance in the event, because she's in her late 60s, in the event that something was to happen to her? Will that cover, or do you have to pay in a certain amount of time for that to take place?
No, what you do is let's look at what is left on the mortgage and then just get a term policy to cover what is left on the mortgage. Because you've been in it 20 years, it's not what she started out with. So find out what that balance is of that mortgage and then find someone to sell you a policy that will just cover the balance of that mortgage.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, here's the other problem. As you get older, when you're 50, you can get a 30-year term. When you're 51, you can't get a 30.
But she doesn't know 30 years on it now. So that's
right.
right.
So what I'm saying is that her age, she's only going to be able to get a certain amount of term. So
absolutely, he's right.
Well, she's
that's
in her
what
60s,
you need to be concerned with.
Right.
Like, she gets a 10-year term, but she has another 15 years on the mortgage.
Brother Marshall is correct on that. He's correct on that. Based on that age there, she may only be able to get, a 20-year term or a 15-year term, but she can't get a 30-year term.
No,
because of the age. You're exactly right about that.
Well, and to that point, she doesn't need 30 years.
Right,
she doesn't owe 30 years on the mortgage.
Right. But say if she she got a 30-year mortgage and she's 20 in, and she was 72. She couldn't get a 10-year term because they only want to take you out to 80.
That's
Right?
right. Oh,
Right.
No,
So,
there's some carriers out there, you know that will do that.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
you're gonna have to pay for that. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, both of you brothers are absolutely correct on that. Hey,
I
Tiffany,
just
now,
want to give her the
did that
big
answer?
picture. Yeah.
Okay, did that answer your question, Tiffany?
Yes, thank you.
So
Great.
Tiff, whoever and an easy thing to do, look and see who she has that homeowner's policy with. They may do term. Who she has her car insurance with, they may do it. Start there first. Start with people that you're familiar with first. Before sure. Either the three of us, we would love to help, but the easiest thing to do, start with whoever you've got that mortgage with now. Whatever that bank is or whatnot, right, or that mortgage company. Check with them, and then check with the people that she has her car insurance with, to see if they do it.
Well,
Okay.
I think you should start with your mother because you said you don't know what she has.
that's
Your
right.
mom and your daddy not gonna come to you and say, "Baby, I screwed up."
Right.
That's not their job, even if they do screw up. So I tell all my homeboys, don't think your mom or your daddy got insurance. Ask the question.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the first conversation you need to have is with mama and find out what she has, if she has anything, did she have it, and then it got too expensive because she went, went to the term, and she was too embarrassed to call you and say, I screwed up. So find out what they have first. And I know from personal, my daughter had insurance. I bought a policy on my wife. My mother was talking to his mother, and she said, "Ooh, I need one of those." I said, "Wait a minute, your son thinks you got insurance." I get off the phone, call him, and we had to do some stuff. I had to get my license in Denver because at that time, that's where she lived. But I made sure that my favorite aunt had stuff in place. So we got to ask the right questions, and we assuming that our parents have these policies. When
That's exactly right.
the case.
I couldn't agree more. Someone who I haven't heard from tonight, hardly at all, that's Brother Robert Hicks. Questions and or comments, Brother Hicks?
Yes, thank you. It's just taking in all this information. It's very important that we all learn about this. My question is also, because one of the things that some people tend to do when it comes down to life insurance is they sometimes do forget to pay the premium payment on it, and they end up having it lapse.
Right.
How important is it to make sure that payment is consistent?
Well,
to maintain it.
If I may jump in, the way the insurance companies do it now, in the past, you had an option, or it was primarily you would send in your payments. In most cases, right now, when I sign up a policy, it is an automatic deduction from your account. And the only problem that arises is if you don't have money in your account to pay the premium. Okay. Now, companies will give you a little time to make that up or to correct the problem. But we don't have the problems that we used to have where people could elect to, send in their check every month.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand what goes on there too. And the issue could be that with the postal services and stuff like that, the check could be delayed. But in most cases, there is an unwritten grace period that the companies will get you. Let's say you sent your check is due on, or your payment is due on the 15th, and you would send in a check. Okay, and it only came in through the mail on the 16th or 17th. Most companies, they wouldn't worry about that. But now, like I said, the way the system is now, it is an automatic deduction. So it's going to come out of your account every month. The only problem is you have to make sure that the money is there.
Right.
And I've heard sometimes it won't, like technology is great until it don't work.
That's true.
So you got to make sure you checking your account to make sure that payment come out. Because what if it don't? You know what I mean? And the example is in Jacksonville, we have military people. So they have MyPay. So the VGLI is the Veterans Group Life Insurance, and it's a group plan, and it increases every 5 years. They don't physically make the payment because it comes out of their MyPay. So how big does that bill have to get before you recognize it? So a lot of people aren't doing their due diligence. If it's supposed to come out, you need to check it. Insurance is a tool that is meant to be used. And if you go get your saw that you ain't used since the Million Man March, it's probably not sharp. And it's probably not going to work the way that you need it to work. So the best thing that you can do is check your account or put it on a credit card.
But Rob,
you still have the problem with
technology and also
and not having the money up there. Right.
Well, and then also as a responsible agent, you know, we all get reports daily. I know I do. I check like I check lapse reports and things every day. So if I see your name come up on that report, I'm going to give you that friendly phone call and whatnot. And sometimes it's just an oversight, but you don't want to ignore it, because then what happens? Say they become 2 months in arrears, and then you have and so as soon as you see that thing come across on your report, and then a lot of us, like some customers, it's like Steve is saying, folks know whenever something is off, man, and and a good client will call and say, hey, look, hey, see if those folks can go back in and take this money on this day or that day, because and we all know, in order for me to be a good agent, you got to be a good client. And that comes down to you taking care of your bill whenever it's time for you to take care of your bill.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because this is a relationship here.
Yes.
And you have to honor your commitment as well. I'm going to honor mine. Mm-hmm. And I expect you to do that as well. And, like I said, I don't get a lot of those at all, because it's something that you said, Brother Campbell, earlier. Some people will come to you and they want 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. Okay. And the thing that I tell them, before I run this, how much can you reasonably, now think about reasonably, and I'm talking about the maximum amount that you can reasonably afford to spend. And they said $100. When I run the report, $100 will give them $75,000, but they wanted 500,000. So that's why what Brother Campbell said was so vitally important. How much can you spend? Because for 1 month, you might be able to afford that a payment of $500 for that $500,000 policy.
Yeah.
But if you can't reasonably afford to spend that each and every month, and now think about this, because you have other expenses.
Yeah.
Then you need to have a cushion in between all of your expenses, including entertainment and everything like that.
Yeah.
Then have a little bit of cushion before you can reasonably come up with a figure. Because I guarantee you, if they haven't calculated that policy is going to lapse.
But
because they can't keep it up. And they're upset to you as an agent because you sold it to them.
Well, now, here's the problem, Brown. Your mistake that you make, you messed up your money, right? Now you compound the mistake by canceling your life insurance policy. The last thing you added is the first thing you cancel. So you have to be held accountable that if you can't go out, because crackheads always seem to get cracked.
And you just gave that insurance company $1,000.
Right, but
that's free money. And that's free money for them, and they can justify it because you were covered during that time that I had your money, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you decide to vacate this coverage that I gave you. I'm gonna tell you guys a quick story. And that's why I look at things like whole life. We talked about that based on dividends. We talked about IULs that was based on what the index or indices gave you, right? We talk about variable universal life insurance that is based on the stock market, and all of these can produce wealth for you. Okay. We need to keep these things in mind, folks. Keep these in mind. And what is best for my family? What is best for my family, me and my family? And if you really want to create wealth, these are one of the things that you want to do, because look at what you have. You might have a checking and savings account. You might have a 401k on the job. Okay. You might have that as well. This will be something great to add to your portfolio. Okay. Add to your portfolio a really, really good life insurance policy that you can afford. And then you can even build on it and maybe take money out to build your own business. How about that next car that you want to drive? Okay, you can do that. How about your child's education? So we've covered all of these magnificent things that life insurance can do. That's why I was so excited about this program. Brother Campbell, Brother Marshall, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. We will do this again. There needs to be a part 2, because I think we would not be doing our audience a great service if we just left it here. Because there's so much education that needs to go out in our community about the very thing that we're talking about.
Can I say something right quick?
Yes, sir. I don't think anybody stopped you from talking tonight.
Oh no, I just want to be respectful.
I'm teasing you, brother. I like injecting a little bit of humor into our broadcast. All right. Okay.
There is
Go on.
a topic that I want to get off my chest that I know we've all had this, right? When you're talking to a man who has a wife and you trying to get him to buy a policy, and he says, I'm not trying to get her to be all good with the next man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not going. Yeah. Oh boy.
Now, that's a whole nother show. That's a series.
Right.
But
I've heard that.
Right. So to my women out there, how do you know if your husband loves you? You'll find out at the funeral.
That's right.
Right.
You know what? That is a very well-spoken point there, brother.
Yeah.
You buy
You know,
insurance for the people you love.
That's
That's
right.
it.
Mhm.
That's exactly right.
That's it.
Mhm.
You know.
That's exactly right. Brother Campbell,
Yes.
what do you have to say? I know you got.
Well, you know, to his point, whenever I would do seminars for you couples and things of that nature, I'm always gonna, or if I'm in the house, I'm always gonna focus on the wife, or I'm always gonna focus on the girlfriend, because she is the one that will have that final decision as to what he is going to do. We're in a room and I'm asking, this couple, I said, "Sir, do you love her?" Yes.
Oh boy.
So that means that, I would think that you would want to have as much life insurance as you could, right? Well, I don't know. Well, man,
You go for the juggler, don't you?
yeah. Hey, at that table, I'm a monster. But also standing up in front of 200 or 300 people, hey, I'm decent there too. But I would say, hey, ma'am, so tell me this. If he were to get hit by a Walmart truck this afternoon, how much would you sue Walmart for? Or I'm going to sue them for everything I can.
Oh boy.
So, dear heart, don't you think that we should have at least anywhere between $200,000 to $300,000 worth of coverage on him? I mean, that's just bare bones, I think. At which time, the guy looks at me and says, "You know what, man? Boy, you're a heck of a salesman. We're gonna get this thing." Because you have to appeal to, like I said, what keeps you up at night? What keeps you up at night?
That's right.
Find a pain point. Find a pain point and stick on that pain point.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it works.
I see you. I see your angle. You like you like to hit them where it hurts. And I'm a little more subtle than that. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Hey, Tiffany, any final point? Because we're going to do a part 2 of this. I need to get together with Rock again. I love Rock. She is behind the scenes working diligently each and every week, bringing on these magnificent guests. I never would have met these two brothers if it weren't for her. Never would have met them. And this is part of the Groove network, Groove Swing Network, brother Robert, Fellowman Robert. We get a chance to meet grooves from around the country. And that's the purpose of Groove Swing Speaks, man. We come up and, like I mentioned earlier, when we first started, that we cover so many different topics. We're talking about architecture. We're talking about business. We talk about education, literature, art, the great things that we as a culture has created through time. And so much in our history has been missing. Because if we go back in history, we always took care of our own.
Mhm.
Okay. And there was insurance of some nature. We'll get into it a little bit later on. But I want to thank you guys. Tanisha, any final words? Tiffany, any final words? Robert, any final words? Let's start with Tanisha.
No, I just appreciate the information that they provided. And also, too, I wanted to make a comment at one point in time that I know the insurance industry is the quickest and fastest way for you to become a millionaire. So I'm excited that you all are in this line of business. And I also need to get an additional policy myself, too, so I can continue to build wealth for myself and my family and leave.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're in business, you definitely want to talk about that because our brother, our great brother, Mr. Campbell, I was getting ready to call you Dr. Campbell. Brother Dion Campbell. And he was talking about, you're talking about the that program you talk about with employees. What was that? Key Man.
Yeah, Key Man.
That's also, I'm going to leave you guys with this. That's also called a buy-sell agreement.
Yes.
If you have a business partner, you have a business partner, you get insurance on each other.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay. Or buy-sell agreement. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Let's go to Tiffany. Tiffany.
I need that.
No, I just appreciate being here tonight. What chapters are you guys with?
Bronco chapter, baby, Fayetteville State.
Aggie chapter, the Aggie chapter.
Panthers chapter, Virginia Union University.
All
right. And brother Hicks, your chapter.
Northern Virginia Graduate Chapter.
All right. Okay. Look, guys, we need to connect the dots here. Let's keep this thing going. Groove Swing Speaks. I love it. I love it. I love it because we bring out the best, the very best in our culture. Brother Robert, you got the last word.
When you really care about the people in your life, you'll definitely want to be sure that you give insurance. It covers them for the rest of their lives. When you transition, they'll realize how much you really cared about them. Get the insurance. Yes, do it now. Take the sacrifice. Do it.
I like that.
I've got to get together. Brother Campbell.
Yes.
I think you sort of enjoyed yourself tonight, haven't you?
Hey, for one, I'm never afraid, to talk to my people. I am never afraid to talk about what I know about. I stay in my lane. And again, service is key. Service is key. And I've been blessed over these past 16 years, to have some customers that I started out with in 2005, and I still have them here in 2024. So, it's just a testament to the mentors that I've had that, showed me the way to go with this thing. And I've been blessed and highly favored, to have those guys. I'm gonna mention one name, and I know Rock knows who it is, Mr. Tom Morrison. Tom Morrison was Mike Morrison's dad, and Tom Morrison has been one of my biggest supporters and one of my biggest cheerleaders since I got started in insurance. Yes.
Wow. Hey, man, thank you so much, my brother. We will talk soon.
Yes.
Along with Brother Marshall, we've got to talk. because I need to have you guys on the Money Talk Radio show. We're going to talk about this, folks. We can't let this go. And like I said, one conversation about this is not enough. It is not enough. We're talking about life. We're talking about sustainable life, how to create legacies, how to build our wealth. Folks, remember Black Wall Street? All right.
Yes.
Come on. Brother Marshall,
Yes, sir.
last word, sir.
I just wanted to piggyback on what you guys were talking about, the buy sell and all that. Insurable interest. Walmart used to get $1 million policies on the greeters. Now, remember when the greeters were in their 80s?
Mhm.
Just think about what they were doing, right? And here's my philosophy on hip hop. It would be very easy if I'm a hip hop label, I would hire a guy who talks about gangster rap, right? I sit the hit out on him. I got a policy on the rapper because he's an employee. Now he makes all the records. He gets killed because of his lifestyle. I get the insurance money and the royalties from the dead man's record.
Oh my God.
Yes,
So-
it does happen.
Yep.
It is a lot that goes on that we don't really understand. So my motto is, if the problem is the solution, is there really a problem?
Right. Mhm.
We know we're gonna die.
Mhm.
So, and our paycheck is gonna die with us, which most people don't think about. Burying you is one thing. If you're 30 and you make 30,000 and you're gonna work till you're 65, that's $1 million with no raise.
That's
I just
right.
died at 30. You miss me and my paycheck.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Right.
So don't go in the hole trying to put somebody in one.
And you know what? And our next show, gentlemen, is going to be a combination of what we talked about tonight, and
Okay.
also how you can add an annuity to your
Ooh.
portfolio.
Yeah.
Okay. And to
Okay.
me, that is almost a perfect balance. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that later. This has been another episode of Groove Swing Speaks. I want to appreciate each and every one of my panelists there: Tiffany Hilliard, Tanisha Holmes, Brother Robert Hicks, and our special guest, my brother Dion Campbell, and brother Steve Marshall. Hey, brothers.
Steve with a V.
Hey, you Stephen what?
Steve with a V.
Yeah, I said Steve.
Yeah, no, but you know, you can do Steve two ways.
All right.
I'm just being specific. Steve with a V.
All right, y'all.
Hey, look here, we won't forget you, brother. I promise you that. Hey, guys, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
another episode of Groove Swing Speaks on the Buzz. Hey, enjoy your Tuesday. I've enjoyed this broadcast. We will do this again. Look forward to part 2 on the network. Hey, go to www.studiow.buzz. I promise you guys a special announcement. At the end of the year, December the 31st, New Year's Eve, there will be a contest. And each and every one of our listening audience and everyone can join in. Please go to the website, because this entire broadcast will be on the website, studiow.buzz, studiow.buzz. Now, as far as the contest is concerned, please subscribe, leave a comment about this show or any shows that you have listened to. And that's how we're going to tally the votes, okay? And there's a cash prize December the 31st right here on this network. That's studiow.buzz, studiow.buzz. Go to featured shows. Once you reach the website, featured shows, okay? And go to Groove Swing Speaks. Groove Swing Speaks. It's going to be the first thing that pops up, okay? Featured shows, Studio W, your global radio network. And Robert has just, contact number, DME. Hey, contact Brother Dion. If people want to contact you,
Yes.
yes, if they want to contact you, give us your contact information. Okay, I see. Since let me do this for you. Okay, I'm gonna do this for you. All right, add a banner. And Brother Marshall,
Yes,
for
sir.
contact information.
Do you want me to put it in the chat or you want me just to say it?
You can put it in the chat.
Okay.
And you know, that would take the weight off of me. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, put it in the chat. In the meantime, my contact is studiow.buzz, studiow.buzz, or William at studiowbuzz.com, William@studiowbuzz.com. Also, WB Financial Services 99@gmail.com, or just call me directly, 909-910-0265. Again, 909-910-0265. Okay. If you put it in the chat, let's see what we have here. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Dime. Okay. And now Dime. Dime, is that which brother is that?
That's Dion.
That's Dion.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your information again. Give it to us.
I'm Steve Marshall, Stephen with a V. My office number is 910-333-1018. I'm putting all this in the chat too. You can find me on Facebook. That's how I watch over my flock. Most of my clients are my Facebook friends, so I can see what's going on in your life and vice versa. And then if you end up in the hospital, I'm gonna give you a call before you call me. So the Marshall Group of NC Inc. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I don't do Twitter, TikTok, all that. So
yeah,
but
I dropped Twitter too. I dropped Twitter, yeah, for obvious reasons. Well, not so obvious to most folks. But anyway, hey guys, Tiffany, Robert, Tanisha, oh, and then brother Campbell, he left us. Tanisha left us. But anyway, thank you guys so much. We will do a part 2 on this because this is something that we really need to talk about. We need to educate our people, and I think with better understanding, we will be able to create some legacy for ourselves and financial independence. So let's do this.
Can't get around it.
Hey, good night, everyone. Enjoy your Tuesday.
So high, you
One
can't
Nation, baby.
get
Y'all have a good one.
This is a chance. This is a chance to dance your way out of your constrictions. How? Jill shook 'em.
Here's a chance to dance our way out of our constriction. Gonna be freaking up and down.